WBCR, Bloomfield College Radio presents Bloomfield's Best, an opportunity to hear from those who call Bloomfield College home, a one-on-one chat to find out why the college has made a difference. Bloomfield's Best is made possible by the John B. Skoronsky 91 Communication Scholarship.
This is Bloomfield's Best. I'm Stephanie Valdeviezo. My guest today is Carlos Gomez, International Treasury Analyst for WME-IMG. Welcome, Carlos. How are you today?
I am great. Thank you so much for having me. How are you?
I'm doing well. So I have a couple questions for you. I know you're very passionate about sports, and I know you played one season in Pennsylvania. So can you explain to me a little bit more about that? Tell me your experience there when you went to school in Pennsylvania.
So I went to Mercyhurst University in Erie, and I was part of kind of like a new baseball team because the coach was brand new. It was his first season. So it was overall a positive experience for me. It was the first time that I had a really young coach, and he made it really easy for me to identify myself with him because it was interesting to see that he played and he was in my position like a few years before being a coach. So that was great. I played in the infield, and I made a bunch of friends, and it was overall a great experience for me.
Now, I know you had a couple injuries at that time in your stay in Pennsylvania.
Mm-hmm.
Can you explain that? Because I know that after that, that's when you were able to actually focus on your financial background. So how was that?
Yeah, so I had a lingering injury on my rotator cuff on my right arm. And it first happened when I was about 16, 15 years old in the Dominican Republic. And it healed to the point that I was able to play again. But, you know, with those injuries, they always, you know, say like in the back of your head, and they're always there. And I remember it was like a really long throw from the shortstop, and I feel that it pulled, and after that my arm was swelling really bad, and that was kind of like the breaking point for me. I realized that it was never going to be the same, and that I needed a plan B after baseball.
And so now, why finance? Where did that passion come out from?
Since high school, I always was very good with numbers. I like numbers. They make sense to me. Not necessarily all math, but financial math was fun to me. And my grandfather from my mom's side, he owned like a little furniture store, and then from my dad's side, he owned like a grocery store, like at the country level, right? So I was always around business and like business finance and business math. So it made sense to me.
Now, let's take it back to a couple years back and your decision for Bloomfield College. I know you got accepted to several other schools, but what made you decide on Bloomfield?
For me, it was I wanted to be close to New York City because I knew that eventually I was going to be working there. So all of the schools that I got accepted into were in the area, but none of the schools were as nice as Bloomfield in terms of the quality of the personnel, and you know, the attention that they pay to you, and how much they show that they care about you, and not just the fact that you were going to be coming here to pay tuition. You know, they got interested in where I was coming from and what my particular situation was. And you know, if I have to give the credit to anybody, I will say it was the Office of Admissions, because I got to meet every single person in that office, even before I got into Bloomfield, from like the follow-ups that they were doing with me, the calls, the emails, making sure that I had all of my documents, and then at the end they reward me with a very generous scholarship that made the process a lot easier.
Now, your student life here. Did you have any professors here that really helped you or that you admired along the way?
Yes, wow, I had some really great professors. You're putting me on the spot here. My finance professors, I had two main professors, Anita Pasmantier and drawing a blank here. Wow. I had several great professors, all in finance. My life here as a student was great. I would say it was very positive too. I didn't live on campus, but I live close enough to the school that I was able to enjoy and participate on most of the activities that were going on. So I had a great time at Bloomfield.
Now, Carlos, can you tell us a little bit more about your semester at France? I know there was a unique scholarship that gave you the opportunity to go there. So, can you explain that a little bit?
Yes, so that was thanks to the generosity of the Iversons, part of our board of trustees. I had the opportunity to go to Annecy, France. That's in the south of France, close to Geneva and the Switzerland border, to study French. I knew a little before I went, and it was amazing. By far, it was the highlight of my overall undergrad experience. I got to live in France. I got to visit a lot of countries out there because it was so inexpensive to travel once you're there, and learn the language and get that final kick to like the international experience that I was trying to obtain in Bloomfield College.
So, you would recommend to any student to study abroad to take the opportunity and go for it?
I would say anybody majoring in international business, it should be a requirement to take a semester abroad if the finances allow, and they usually do, because when you make the comparison of tuition paid in the United States versus other countries, usually what tuition covers here will cover a lot more in another country. So I will strongly recommend it. It's a great experience.
Now, can you tell us a little bit about your most exciting or unusual day here at Bloomfield?
Wow, most exciting or unusual day. Um, let's see. My most exciting day, I would say it was the my first. At the time, we were the deacons, not the bears, but like my first deacons um, welcoming day. I don't remember if it was the Deacons Fest. The Deacons Fest. Um, it was the first time that I arrived into campus, like after I saw it, like for like a school activity. And I remember that they were playing Spanish music, and I was like, "Oh wow, this is this is different." Because I'm coming from a school in Erie, Pennsylvania, when we were arguably four Latinos, and I'm very sure I was like the only Dominican up there. So when I got here and I saw so much diversity, and I remember that at first it was like a salsa song. I think it was Mark Anthony. I was like, I'm home. So that I think that would have been like the most shocking moment for me.
So, you would say that made you feel comfortable here at Bloomfield?
Yes, it made me feel great. It made me feel like I belonged. Um, so it made the rest of the time easier because I had a great start.
Actually, we still do the Deacons Fest, and the Dominican population here has actually grown. We have a lot of students now here at Bloomfield College with Dominican descent, so that's very good to know. Also, Carlos, I wanted to ask you about your New York office, how you relocated. Can you tell me your decision behind that?
So yeah, when I started with this company, I started in the Cleveland office because I was at the time finishing my MBA at Case Western Reserve University and they're in Cleveland. So the opportunity to come to New York um, came up sooner than what I was expecting. I knew that eventually they wanted me in this office, but not as soon as 6 months into the job. So my boss kind of made like the proposal, like how would I feel about it, and I said I'm there. Like they asked me how difficult it would be for you to move, and I said when you want me there, I'm packed and ready to go. So it was a very easy transition because I knew the area. I'm actually living now close to where I used to live when I went to Bloomfield. So it was convenient for both. Like the company didn't have to do a whole lot of arrangements. So it was a very easy transition for me.
Now, the world of finance can be very complicated. What advice can you give to some college students about that, or even some faculty members?
To keep learning, to keep updating yourself on the newest trends, newest information. And for the students, more to memorize, to understand, because we as students tend to prepare for a test or to just look at the information in a book, but it doesn't make sense. So I would say it's better to just remember half of the things and just make sure that that half makes sense than remembering everything and not being able to simplify it and understand it. So I think that's the main thing, that you need to make sense to you.
Now, I know you've accepted an offer to relocate into a London office for international treasury functions. Can you elaborate on that a little bit?
Yeah, so I was once again in the spot of an opportunity opening up within the company, and this was back in probably September when the conversation started. We are expanding in operations as a company. We acquired UFC, um, and several other businesses within fiscal year 2016. So the function of treasury needed more help, and we got the help that we needed in the United States, but the office in London needed some help too. And because of the complexity of the business that we have in the college and media production and models and athletes, it's kind of difficult to grasp the understanding of how things work. So to hire somebody new, it would have taken a few more months to get them kind of like up to speed and running to what I do. So it was easier to send me out there and start working right away and helping the team out there. And they were really nice by considering me, and I was very honored. And the opportunity to leave and work in London was very exciting to me. And I'm a light traveler, so I was the easier member to send out there. It's like I'm no family, no really big ties here yet, so it was an easy decision for them and for me.
So, Carlos, from a young age, you've traveled from the Dominican Republic. You've been to Pennsylvania, New Jersey, France, China, India. What is your favorite part of the world and why?
Wow, my favorite, if I had to pick a city, after I left India, I had the opportunity to go to Melbourne, Australia. And even though I didn't live there, I was there for 5 days. But I think those 5 days made a pretty solid case for my favorite spot. It was truly amazing. The the culture out there, how relaxed it was. The scenery was beautiful. The coast, the beaches were amazing. Maybe I was like a really good time in my life that I was just on vacation and I could relax. But I'd say from the places that I've been, that Melbourne has been my favorite.
Nice. Now, I know you also volunteer. You spend some of your time, you volunteered for the Special Olympics.
Hmm.
Uh, why do you participate in that? Can you explain that?
I I didn't go last year, but I think the year before I volunteer. I picked the Special Olympics first because Dean Spees here at Bloomfield College, she had a project, and she asked for volunteers to go, and I think it was in Asbury Park. Um, and I went, and that must have been my sophomore year in Bloomfield College, sophomore, junior year, and I really liked it. I was looking for opportunities to volunteer, and this particular event, it kind of touched me because we're talking about people that have to face so many challenges in life already, and they have such a determination to go and compete, and a lot of them do it not necessarily to win, just participating and it's winning for them. So it was a very touching and inspiring experience for me, and I wish I could do it more. But definitely the times that I've done it, it's I don't know if it's more rewarding for me or for them. It's truly a great experience to volunteer.
So, Carlos, your busy schedule with your work, volunteering, and everything else that you do, what do you do to relax, to unwind? What do you do for yourself?
Fantasy NBA. I I am very deep into analyzing stats of my players, probably more than I should. So I'm big on fantasy sports overall. I do fantasy football, fantasy and MLB, and fantasy NBA. So the only season going on right now is the NBA. So football just finished, and then baseball hasn't started. So right now, whenever I have a free minute, I go on my phone and I check the updates on my team, who got injured, who's having a hot streak, and I am very competitive, and I am competing with some people at work. And right now I'm on third out of 10, and it's driving me insane.
So you have something to entertain yourself with. Now, with all of this traveling that you do, have you ever gotten homesick? Because I know you been far away from your family. How did you deal with that? How did you cope with that?
Yeah, I do. I do get homesick. I do miss my parents. I miss my friends back at home. But nowadays with technology, you're always just a FaceTime call away, or like a Skype call away. So, for example, 2 days ago, I was trying to make my last meal in my apartment here, and I'm not a great cook, so I had to FaceTime my mom. She has an iPhone, so it's quite an experience. And it was just like being right there, having her yell at me and telling me that the fire and the heat was too high on the stove. It's like, oh, you're gonna burn it. I can tell. I can smell it. I'm like, Mom, you can definitely not smell it. But technology makes it easier now to cope with whenever you want to see a face, you want to hear a voice. So that's what I rely on.
Now, when you say your mom is back home, what is home to you? Dominican Republic?
Yes, both of my parents live in the Dominican Republic. Right now, home is a challenging question because I've been bouncing around for so long. But definitely home is Santo Domingo. So my parents are there.
So you would say that you really are living the American dream. You came here, you became successful. Now, I come from a similar background. I'm actually a neighbor of you. I come from Puerto Rico.
Okay.
And I know what it is to come over here and start all over. Now, for people like myself, for students like myself, minorities, what advice can you give them to stay motivated in life?
Number one is just to remember where you're coming from, because a lot of times we put ourselves down by any failure, any mistake. So when you take a minute and you breathe and you remember, well, 1 year ago, 2 years ago, I was in a totally different position, and now I moved so many steps forward, so many steps up. I'm doing so much better now. It's always a good self reminder that things are not going to be perfect and things are going to be hard, but it's worth it. And that if you put the effort and passion into whatever you're doing, you can do great things. And there's the possibilities are really unlimited when you really work hard. So always remember to take a minute, breathe, and be thankful that you have made some progress.
So your favorite childhood memory over there in Dominican Republic, what would that be?
Ooh, Christmas at my grandmother's house. Probably when I was 8. So my family is split between like the people that live here in the United States from my mom's side and the ones that live in the Dominican Republic. So it's a really big family. And I remember when I was like 9 or 10, that time around there, all of the cousins came. So it was a lot of people in my grandmother's house. It must have been like 15 cousins, and we were all in the ages between like 7 and 13. It was a lot of chaos, but it was so much fun. And I don't remember any other Christmas that absolutely all of us were together. 'Cause, as you grow older, it's difficult to kind of like bring families from different parts of the world. So that's definitely very high on my memories. That Christmas, probably like 2000.
I would say we take that pretty serious, the holidays. Us Hispanics, we like to go all out and really celebrate it. And it's basically all about family.
Yes, it's definitely the time of the year. Christmas is the actual time of the year to celebrate.
So your parents must be very proud. What do they think about all of this, about your success? What do they have to say?
Um, wow, I guess that's a question for them more than for me. But from what I see and what they express, they're proud. I would like to think so. I would like to think that they're proud, and a lot of the things they don't understand, but they're very supportive, even of the things that they don't understand. So if I have to give merit to anyone, it's definitely my parents. I wouldn't be anything near of the little that I have accomplished. It's thanks to my parents, my mom and my dad. They give me a very solid education and very solid values. I always tell people that I am very blessed that I come from a very functional family. So it's the Carlos that you see here is the result of my mom checking if I did my homework every day, and my dad getting home and making sure that I went to bed, that everything was fine at the house, that that even he was really busy. They were both very busy, that they made a point on the weekends to spend time with me and my sisters. So it was a blessing to grow up. I know that a lot of people don't have that, and I don't take it for granted. Not a single day. I'm very thankful for my parents. So I think that I try to make them proud and kind of like show that they did a good job by me, putting a lot of effort in everything I do.
Now, I know that you've also been very grateful, and you've been very blessed with the scholarship that you were awarded. Can you explain more about that?
Yeah, that's another thing that I am very thankful and every day until forever, I'll be thankful for the scholarships that I receive from Bloomfield and then also my other school, Case Western, because without them, I honestly don't think I would have been able to complete any of my degrees. The process was difficult because as I'm sure that you are aware of, there's a lot of competition. There's a lot of people that that will like a scholarship, that would that it's aiming to get some financial aid. So the process for me is, as an international student, was a little bit more difficult because the sources of funding are way more limited when you're international. But that's when the earlier hard work kicks in, making sure that your grades are good, that you're participating, that you're getting involved, that you're doing all of the little things that will make you a solid candidate for those scholarships that you're applying for.
So you would say that the scholarship you were awarded by the trustees really impacted your life?
Oh, 100%. I wish and I hope that I find more ways to give back and maybe and hopefully someday impact other students the way that, that the scholarship that I received from the Board of Trustees impacted me. Because it was a life-changing event, definitely, when I was awarded the scholarship, because it was in that moment that I realized that it was truly possible, that I was going to be able to make it through college, because otherwise I don't think I would have been able to.
Now, Carlos, I want to thank you for coming here. I know you have a very busy schedule and you're always traveling, so thank you so much for taking the time to come back home to Bloomfield College and just speak about your success. So I congratulate you on everything, and it was nice meeting you. And I'm with Bloomfield's Best. I'm Stephanie Valdeviezo.
Bloomfield's Best is a WBCR production and made possible by the John B. Skoronsky 91 Communication Scholarship.